The kind that presses against your eyeballs, the kind that makes you forget what color looks like. Then breathing, shallow, controlled, the rasp of damaged lungs pulling desert air through cracked lips. A red light flickers on, weak, battery dying. The beam cuts through absolute black, illuminating a face that belongs in a morgue. Dirt caked so thick it looks like war paint. Blood-dried, brown, fresh red, streaking from temple to jaw. And the eyes. Green eyes that have seen things no training manual can prepare you for. Chief Petty Officer Kira Brennan, 28 years old, 147 pounds of Irish stubbornness wrapped in shredded multicam and Kevlar. Left arm bound against her chest with duct tape and gauze so soaked with blood it's turned black. She sits in a limestone cave 61 hours into what was supposed to be a 12-hour operation. Her right hand, the only one still working, grips an ICOM radio. The kind cartel enforcers use, the kind you pull off corpses. Static hisses from the speaker, then a voice. American, clean, professional. The voice of a man sitting in air conditioning 300 miles away. Viper 1 is KIA. Sanitized grid November 7. Repeat, any movement in that sector is hostile. You are cleared hot. Kira's jaw tightens. Her thumb hovers over the transmit button. She could speak, could scream her call sign into the void, could tell them she's alive, that she survived their little genocide attempt. Instead, she pulls the battery. The radio dies with a soft click. The red light sweeps across the cave wall. Someone has carved initials there. JR 1987. Some miner who thought this hole in the ground would make him rich. Wonder if he made it out. Kira sets the light down, reaches for her canteen with her good hand. The water inside is warm, tastes like iodine and rust and second chances. She takes one sip, just one. Discipline is the only thing keeping her alive now. Her voice comes out like sandpaper on concrete. Not yet, Colonel. The words hang in the darkness. Not yet. 68 hours earlier. The sun hasn't cleared the mountains yet, but Fort Irwin is already awake. The Tactical Operations Center sits like a concrete bunker in the middle of the Mojave. No windows, just screens, dozens of them glowing blue in the pre-dawn dark. Satellite feeds, drone footage, thermal overlays, the modern machinery of war. Men in multicam move between workstations, coffee in one hand, classified in the other. The air smells like burnt French roast and printer ink. At the front of the room, behind a podium that's seen better wars, stands Colonel Garrett Thorne, 67 years old, 6'2", shoulders still broad despite the decades, gray hair cut high and tight, face like weathered leather, the kind you get from 30 years under the sun in places that don't appear on tourist maps. Deep lines bracket his mouth, the kind carved by hard decisions and harder truths. His eyes are blue, faded now, but still sharp enough to cut through bullshit at 50 paces. He doesn't read from notes. Men like Thorne don't need notes. Listen up. The room goes silent. Even the keyboards stop clicking. This is my last mission before mandatory retirement, which means this is the last time I get to tell you how to do your jobs without the brass reminding me I'm too old to remember which end of the rifle goes boom. A few scattered chuckles. Thorne doesn't smile. Target is Anatoly Volkov, Russian national, arms dealer, the kind who doesn't care if his merchandise ends up in a schoolyard or a war zone. To him, it's all the same payday. Intel places him at the Goldfield Mining Complex, 120 miles northeast. He's meeting with cartel representatives. Cash for heavy weapons, RPGs, AT-4s, possibly Stingers. Thorne clicks a remote. The main screen fills with satellite imagery. An abandoned mining facility, rusted equipment, collapsed structures, the kind of place that looks dead until you zoom in and see the pickup trucks and armed men. Goldfield went offline in 1998. Since then, it's been used as a way station for everything from drug runs to human trafficking. 2 months ago, NSA intercepted communications suggesting Volkov was using it as a meet point. Yesterday, we confirmed. Another click. A grainy photograph of a man in his late 40s. Slavic features. Expensive watch. The face of someone who's never held the weapons he sells. Mission parameters are simple. Capture Volkov. Alive. He's got information on Russian supply chains we need. If he goes into the wind, we don't get another shot. Thorne's eyes sweep the room. SEAL Team 6 will execute the extraction. Air support is MH-60 out of Nellis. I'll be running command from here. Questions. A hand goes up. Young lieutenant, fresh out of Coronado probably. Sir, what about local resistance cartel presence? Intel suggests between 50 and 80 hostiles, mix of cartel enforcers and hired contractors. They're expecting a business meeting, not a raid. We hit fast, we hit hard. We're out before they can coordinate. Another hand. Captain Wade Hollister, 33, team leader, good operator, follows orders but isn't afraid to push back when it matters. Sir, what's our ROE if Volkov resists rules of engagement, the line between soldier and murderer? Non-lethal force preferred, but if he's reaching for a weapon, you do what you're trained to do. I'm not losing operators for a lawyer's interpretation of justifiable force. Hollister nods. Thorne clicks the remote again. The screen shifts to topographical maps. Elevation lines, mark positions. Overwatch will be here. He taps a ridge on the map. Limestone outcrop, 850 meters from the target building. Elevation advantage, clear line of sight. Our sniper will provide cover during entry and extraction. He pauses, looks toward the back of the room. Chief Brennan, you're up. Kira stands from her chair in the back row. Every head turns, not because she's a woman, not because she's 5'5" in a room full of men who average 6 feet, but because she's earned it. She walks to the front, moves like someone who's comfortable in her own skin. No swagger, no hesitation, just purpose. Her red hair is pulled back tight, no makeup, no jewelry, just the face of someone who stared through a scope at 1,800 meters and made the hardest decision a human can make. Freckles dust her cheeks and nose, Irish ancestry written in every feature. Her hands are small but scarred, the hands of someone who's broken down a rifle 10,000 times. Thorne hands her the remote. Walk them through it, Chief. Kira clicks. The topographical map zooms in on the ridge. I'll be here. Her voice is clear. Midwest accent, Michigan, maybe Ohio. The kind of voice that doesn't rise to be heard, doesn't need to. 850 meters to primary target building, 30-degree downward angle. At 1400 hours, temperature will be approximately 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Density altitude will be high. Wind typically picks up mid-afternoon, expect 8 to 12 miles per hour, full value left to right. She clicks again. A photograph of a rifle. Macmillan TAC 50, 50 caliber. The kind of weapon that can turn an engine block into shrapnel from a mile away. Primary weapon is the TAC 50, effective range 2,500 meters. At 850, I'm well within optimal. Secondary is the MK-18 for close defense. Sidearm is SIG P226. She looks at Hollister. Captain, your entry route takes you through a courtyard, east side of the main building. There's a watchtower here. She points to the screen. If I was setting up an ambush, that's where I'd put an RPG team. Pre-sighted on the courtyard. Wait for you to cross, then light you up. Hollister leans forward, studying the map. Can you clear it? If I see it, I can kill it. No bravado, just fact. Thorne takes the remote back. Wheels up at 1200 hours. Flight time is 30 minutes. We insert, we extract. We're back here in time for dinner. Let's make this clean. He clicks the remote off. The screens go dark. Dismissed. The room empties. Operators heading to the armory. Pilots heading to pre-flight. The machine of war grinding into motion. Kira stays behind. Thorne is packing his briefing materials. Doesn't look up. Something on your mind, Chief? Permission to speak freely, sir. You've been in the Navy how long? 8 years. Then you know I don't do formality off the record. Spit it out. Kira shifts her weight. Not nervous, just choosing her words. This is your last mission. That's what they tell me. 30 years of service, Gulf War, Somalia, Afghanistan, Iraq. And they're making you retire because you hit a birthday. Thorne finally looks up. That's how it works, Brennan. They don't ask if you're still useful. They check your birth certificate and make decisions. Seems like a waste, sir. Thorne studies her, the way a teacher studies a student who just asked the right question. Your old man was Carl Brennan, 82nd Airborne, did 3 tours, died in a training accident at Bragg when you were, what, 15, 14. He was a hell of a soldier, best forward observer I ever worked with. Could call fire missions in his sleep. Kira's face doesn't change, but something shifts behind her eyes. He always said you were the best commander he served under. He was being generous, but I appreciated it. Thorne closes his folder. You know why I requested you for Overwatch on this? No, sir. Because your qual scores at sniper school were second only to one other person, and that person was your father. 23 years ago, same course, same range. He set a record that stood until you came within 1/10 of a point of breaking it. Kira's throat tightens. Just slightly. I didn't know that. Most people don't. It's not the kind of thing that makes it into official files. But old men like me, we remember. He picks up his cover, his uniform cap, and settles it on his head. Your father would be proud of what you've become. I know I am. Thorne walks toward the door. Get some rest, Chief. It's going to be a long day. He leaves. Kira stands alone in the empty TOC. The screens are dark. The coffee machine gurgles in the corner. She pulls out her phone. The lock screen is a photograph. A little girl with red hair and freckles, 7 years old, holding a soccer ball, smiling like the world is still a safe place. Sloane. Same green eyes as her mother. Same stubborn set to her jaw. Kira's thumb hovers over the screen. She could call, could hear her daughter's voice, could say the things mothers say before they walk into the fire. Instead, she locks the phone, puts it back in her pocket. Some conversations are better saved for after. The flight, the MH-60 Black Hawk, squats on the tarmac like a predator waiting to hunt. Rotors tied down, fuel lines connected, crew chiefs running final checks. Kira walks across the concrete. Full kit now, plate carrier over multicam, helmet, gloves, the TAC-50 in a drag bag slung across her back. 50 pounds of rifle and gear that might as well be feathers after 8 years of carrying it. The rest of the team is already aboard. 6 men, all operators, all professionals. Captain Hollister sits in the crew chief's seat reviewing maps on a tablet, sees Kira approaching, nods. Brennan, you good monitoring? Always. She climbs aboard, finds a seat, clips in. The crew chief, a staff sergeant with 20 years of flight time, leans over. First time in the sandbox, Chief. No. Good. Means you know to keep your hands inside the ride. He grins, missing a tooth. Probably has a story. The pilot's voice crackles over the intercom. All personnel, this is Hawk 1. We are go for departure. Flight time to LZ is 30 mics. Weather is clear. Temperature on deck is 119 degrees. Drink water. Don't die. Hawk 1 out. The turbines spool up, that whine that starts in your stomach and climbs into your chest. The rotors engage. Slowly at first, then faster. The Black Hawk lifts. Kira watches Fort Irwin shrink below. The TOC, the barracks, the motor pool, all of it getting smaller. She closes her eyes. Thinks about Sloane, 2 weeks ago dropping her off at school. Sloane's voice, small and scared. Mom, you promised we'd go camping this weekend. I know, baby. One more mission, then I'm off for 2 weeks. We'll go wherever you want. You always promise. And God, doesn't that cut deeper than any blade? I mean it this time. Sloane had hugged her. Tight, the way kids hug when they're afraid of letting go. Promise, promise. Kira opens her eyes. The Mojave Desert stretches below. Endless, brown, unforgiving. She checks her rifle. Chambers around. Safety's it. Promises are easy to make. Keeping them is the hard part. The position. The helicopter sets down 2 kilometers from the target. Hard landing. Dust everywhere. The team moves fast. Out of the bird. Into formation. Hollister takes point. Kira peels off. Heads northeast toward the ridge. The heat hits like a physical thing. 118 degrees. The air shimmers. Every breath feels like inhaling sandpaper. She moves carefully, watching for loose rock. Snakes. Anything that might give her away. It takes 40 minutes to reach the position. The ridge is perfect. Limestone shelf, natural cover, 850 meters to the target with unobstructed line of sight. She sets up, deploys the bipod, checks the scope, dials in the range. Wind is picking up, 9 miles per hour, left to right, full value. She adjusts, keys her radio. Havoc 6, this is Viper 1. I'm set. Hollister's voice comes back. Copy, Viper. We're 2 mics out. Call what you see. Kira settles behind the scope. The world magnifies 40 times, close enough to count the rust spots on a truck bumper. The mining complex is a maze. Buildings collapsed into each other. Rusted machinery. Forgotten equipment, but not empty. She counts 12 men outside. AK-47s. Tactical vests. Moving with purpose. Havoc Viper. Count 12 hostiles exterior. Mixed weapons. They're alert but not deployed. Thermals show additional heat signatures inside the main building. Estimate 20 plus. Copy. Can you ID Volkov? Kira pans the scope, scans the windows, the doors. There. A man in civilian clothes, expensive jacket despite the heat, talking to 3 cartel members, animated, gesturing. Positive ID on Volkov. East side of main building, 2nd floor window. He's in a room with 3 hostiles. Looks like a negotiation. Roger, we're moving to breach point. Kira tracks the team through her scope. 6 shadows moving through the rocks. Professional, silent. They reach the wall of the compound. Stack up. Hollister's voice is calm. Viper, talk to me. What's our courtyard look like? Kira shifts her aim. The courtyard is open. 30 meters of nothing but dirt and sun. Perfect kill zone. Her eyes sweep the perimeter. There, the watchtower, just like she predicted. Movement in the shadow. She focuses, holds her breath. A man, RPG-7 on his shoulder, barrel pointed directly at the courtyard, waiting. Havoc, hold position. Say again. Hold. I have an RPG in the tower, sector north. He's pre-sighted on your entry point. You cross that courtyard, you're all dead. Silence on the radio. Then Hollister's voice, tight. Can you take him? Kira does the math. 850 meters, upward angle, through a narrow window, wind at 9 miles per hour. The shot isn't impossible, but it's close. Stand by. She settles into the stock, cheek weld perfect, eye aligned with the scope. The reticle dances in the heat shimmer. She waits, patient, breathing slow. Inhale, exhale, pause. The shimmer clears for half a second. She sees him. The RPG gunner, finger on the trigger, waiting for targets. Kira's finger finds the trigger. She doesn't think about Sloane, doesn't think about going home. Thinks about the 6 men below who are trusting her to keep them alive. She squeezes. The TAC-50 roars, Recoil slams into her shoulder, a visible shock wave in the dust. Through the scope, she sees the result. The RPG warhead detonates inside the tower. Orange fire, black smoke. The top of the structure disintegrates. Good effect on target. You're clear. Moving. The team breaches, fast, hard, and all hell breaks loose. Gunfire erupts from every direction. The mining complex lights up like a fireworks display. Kira shifts targets, finds a man with an AK on a rooftop, fires. He drops. Another target. Technical truck racing toward the breach point, fires. The engine block explodes. The truck careens into a wall. Viper, we have Volkov, moving to extract. Copy. Kira scans for threats, finds 3 men setting up a machine gun, fires. The gun team scatters, her radio crackles. All units be advised. Major weather inbound. Haboob forming to the north. ETA 10 mics. Kira looks up from her scope. The northern horizon has turned dark. Not clouds, sand. A wall of it, 3,000 feet high, moving like a living thing. Havoc, you see this? We see it. We're moving fast. 2 mics to LZ. The sound of the helicopter grows louder. The MH-60 coming in hot. Kira provides cover fire, dropping targets, clearing lanes. The team reaches the landing zone. The helicopter flares, skids inches from the ground. Kira watches through her scope. Hollister and 2 operators dragging Volkov. The Russian is fighting. Dead weight, injured, bleeding from the leg. Another operator, Miller, is limping. Shrapnel wound. They load Volkov first. Rough, no ceremony. Miller next. The rest of the team piles in. Kira starts moving, breaks down the rifle, stuffs it in the drag bag. The storm is closer now. The wall of sand filling her vision. She runs. The helicopter is 300 meters away. Rotors screaming, dust everywhere. Her radio crackles. Viper, move your ass, we gotta go. She's 200 meters out when the helicopter lurches. The skids slam back into the ground. Hard. The turbine whine goes wrong. High-pitched, straining. What's happening? The pilot's voice, panicked. We're overweight. Temperature's 119. I can't get lift. Torque is maxed. Kira reaches the bird, one hand on the skid, looks inside. 7 men, 1 prisoner, gear, fuel. Too much. She does the math in her head. She's 147 pounds, plus gear, plus rifle. 310 pounds total. The pilot is pulling the collective with everything he has. The helicopter is barely hovering, wallowing in its own downwash. Bullets are hitting the fuselage now. Ping. Thwack. An RPG zips past the tail rotor, misses by feet. If they stay, everyone dies. If she stays, everyone else lives. Kira looks at Hollister. He's reaching for her. Hand out. Brennan, get in. She steps back. You can't lift with me, Captain. Bullshit. Check your torque. You're at 105%. You need to drop 300 pounds to clear ground effect. Hollister unbuckles, tries to lunge toward the door. Kira raises her MK-18, not at anyone, just up, in the air. Pilot, lift off. That is a direct order. Kira, lift, off. Her voice is steel. The pilot makes the decision. The turbine note changes, deepens. The sudden loss of weight makes the helicopter jump. Hollister is screaming. The rotor wash blasts Kira backward, buries her in dust. She doesn't look at the helicopter, can't. Instead, she turns, drops prone, faces the oncoming wave of cartel enforcers, raises her rifle, starts firing, controlled, precise, crack, crack. Behind her, the helicopter climbs. The sound fades. Then the storm hits. A wall of sand that turns day into night. Visibility drops to 0. Kira stops firing. Can't see targets. She rolls into a depression, pulls her shema over her face. The wind screams. Dust fills everything, her mouth, her nose, her eyes. She curls into a ball, protects her rifle, and waits. The radio on her chest, the M-batter, hisses with static. She pulls it out, checks it. The antenna is sheared off. Clean break. Probably a bullet. No comms, no extraction, no backup. She is alone. Kira closes her eyes. Thinks about Sloane. Thinks about the promise she made. I'll come home, baby. I promise. The storm rages, and Chief Petty Officer Kira Brennan makes a decision. She's not dying here. Not yet. Not ever. She checks her magazines. One full, one half. Checks her pistol. 14 rounds. Checks her knife. Looks at the wall of sand and whispers to the storm, "Come get me." 300 miles away, Colonel Garrett Thorne replays the drone footage for the 7th time. The timestamp reads 1847 hours, the helicopter extraction, the dust storm, and in the final 3 seconds before the feed cuts out a figure. Small, prone, firing into the advancing enemy. Then nothing. The intelligence officer beside him clears his throat. "Sir, the probability of survival in those conditions is—" "I don't care about probability, Lieutenant." Thorne's voice is granite. "I care about possibility." He rewinds, plays it again. That figure, fighting alone, buying time for her team. He knows that posture, that discipline. Kira Brennan doesn't quit, which means she's still out there. The door opens. A man in civilian clothes enters. Government credentials, CIA. "Colonel Thorne, I'm Deputy Director Castillo. We need to discuss the Volkov operation." Thorne doesn't look away from the screen. "What's to discuss? Mission accomplished. Target secured." And Chief Brennan, KIA. "Are you certain?" Thorne finally turns. "Are you asking me or telling me?" Castillo's smile doesn't reach his eyes. "I'm telling you, Colonel, Chief Brennan is dead. The after-action report will reflect that, and there will be no search and rescue operation. The situation is complicated." Complicated how? Volkov was a CIA asset. The arrangement was delicate. Chief Brennan's intercepts during the operation may have compromised ongoing intelligence operations. If she survived and talks, Thorne stands, all 6'2" of him. "You're saying what exactly?" Castillo doesn't flinch. "I'm saying that Chief Brennan's survival would be problematic. For everyone." The room goes silent. Thorne stares at the CIA man. Understanding dawns like a cold sunrise. "You're not looking for her. You're making sure she stays lost." "I'm protecting national security, Colonel." "You're covering your ass. That's above your clearance level." Thorne looks at the screen one more time, at the frozen image of Kira Brennan, fighting, alone. He reaches up, unpins his rank insignia, sets it on the desk. "Then I guess I don't have a clearance level anymore." Castillo's eyes narrow. "What are you doing?" "What I should have done in 91. Thorne walks to the door. Hollister is waiting outside, sees the look on Thorne's face. "Sir, Captain, how fast can you get the team combat ready?" 20 minutes. "Why?" "Because we're going back." "Sir, we don't have authorization for—" "I don't need authorization. I need loyalty." Thorne looks at the younger man. "In 91, my team got left behind during the Iraqi withdrawal. Command said it was too risky to extract us. So we walked. 80 miles through enemy territory, lost 3 good men." He pauses. "I swore that day, if I ever had the power to prevent it happening to someone else, I would." "Sir, they'll court-martial you." "Probably. You'll lose your pension, your reputation, everything." "Everything except my honor." Thorne starts walking. "You in or out, Captain?" Hollister doesn't hesitate. "In, sir. Always in." "Good. Wheels up in 15. Behind them through the open door, Castillo is already on the phone, making calls, issuing orders. But Colonel Garrett Thorne, no, just Garrett Thorne, now doesn't look back. Some things are more important than following orders. Some things are worth losing everything for, and leaving a soldier behind isn't something he'll do. Not again. Not ever. The storm doesn't end. It pauses, like a predator catching its breath between attacks. Kira unfolds from the depression where she's been buried for the last hour. Sand cascades off her shoulders. Her ghillie suit is caked with dust, making her look like something the desert coughed up and forgot to kill. She spits. Thick grit, tastes like copper and regret. The air is still hazy. Visibility maybe 20 feet. The sun is a pale disk behind the suspended dust, turning everything the color of old blood. She checks her watch. 1847 hours. Almost 3 hours since the extraction. Her body's already feeling it. The heat, the dehydration, the adrenaline crash that makes her hands shake. She forces herself to stand. Legs wobble. She steadies against a rock. First rule of survival. Get off the X. The enemy knows exactly where that helicopter was. They'll be sweeping this area with everything they have. She checks her rifle. The MK-18. Cycles the action. Sand falls out. She clears it methodically. Checks the magazine. 28 rounds. Her sidearm. The SIG P226. 14 rounds. The TAC-50 is still in the drag bag on her back. 50 pounds of dead weight she can't afford to carry, but can't afford to leave. She makes a decision, hides it, finds a crevice in the rocks, shoves the drag bag deep, covers it with loose shale. If she lives, she'll come back for it. If she doesn't, some future archaeologist will have a hell of a story. Kira moves, not away from the compound, not toward it, perpendicular. She heads west, toward the rock formations everyone else avoids. The broken country, the devil's jaw, the locals call it. Limestone teeth jutting from the desert floor. Caves, crevices, places to hide, places to hunt. She moves carefully, watching the ground. Rattlesnakes love this kind of terrain. So do scorpions. And right now, she can't afford a bite from anything. Every 50 meters, she stops, listens. The desert is starting to make noise again. The storm has passed enough that sound carries. Engines, distant, multiple vehicles, voices, shouting in Spanish. They're organizing, setting up a search pattern. Kira keeps moving. 20 minutes later, she finds it. A narrow slot canyon, barely wide enough for her shoulders. She squeezes through. The walls are cool, shaded. The temperature drops 10 degrees instantly. The slot opens into a small cave, maybe 15 feet deep, 7 feet high, dry, safe. She collapses against the back wall. Her body is screaming now, muscles cramping from dehydration, head pounding. She needs water, desperately. She checks her gear. One canteen, half full, maybe 12 ounces, not enough. She allows herself one sip, just one, swishes it around her mouth before swallowing. The relief is immediate and heartbreaking. She caps the canteen. Discipline is survival. Kira pulls the ICOM radio from her vest, the one she scavenged from the mercenaries she killed during the breach. She grabbed it on instinct, good instinct. She powers it on, green light, battery at 60%. She scans through frequencies, listens, static, static, Spanish chatter, more static, then a voice, American, clean, professional. Her heart stops. She recognizes the frequency, command net, encrypted, but the ICOM is receiving the carrier signal. The encryption is old, faulty, leaking through. She shouldn't be hearing this, but she is. The voice is clear enough through the digital artifacts. Confirm status on Viper 1. Another voice, also American, authority in the tone. Thermal blooms suggest she was caught in the mortar barrage. No movement detected in the last 90 minutes. You're certain? As certain as we can be without boots on ground. And we're not sending anyone back into that sector. Cartel has locked it down. Silence. Then the first voice again. Measured. Careful. Reaper 6, are you still on station? Affirmative. Predator 2-7. Fuel for another 3 hours. Maintain overwatch on grid, November 7. If you detect any movement, any thermal signature consistent with a human, you are to engage immediately. Kira's blood runs cold. Sir, are you saying? I'm saying Chief Brennan may have been compromised during the operation. Volkov indicated there was a leak. Someone on our side fed him information. If Brennan was captured and interrogated, she could expose the entire network. Understood. What about SAR protocols? There is no search and rescue. Officially, Chief Brennan died in the line of duty. If she somehow survived and makes contact, we'll reassess. But until then, anything moving in November, 7 is hostile. Clear. Crystal, sir. Reaper 6, you have your orders. The frequency goes dead. Kira sits in the cave, the radio in her hand. For a long moment, she doesn't move, doesn't breathe, just processes. They're not coming for her. Worse, they're hunting her. She looks at the radio, wants to scream into it, wants to key the mic and tell them she's alive, that she didn't talk, didn't get captured, that she's still loyal. But loyalty is a two-way street, and her command just drove the wrong way down it. Kira pulls the battery from the radio, pockets it. She leans her head back against the stone, closes her eyes, sees Sloane, 7 years old, red hair and pigtails, asking when mommy's coming home. I'm trying, baby, Kira whispers to the empty cave. I'm trying. She opens her eyes. The light outside is fading, the desert twilight turning everything purple and gold. She has maybe 2 hours before full dark, 2 hours to find water, because if she doesn't, the desert will kill her before the drone ever gets a chance. Kira stands, shoulders her rifle, and moves deeper into the devil's jaw. The night belongs to predators. Time to become one. Night 1, the Seep Spring. The moon is 3/4 full, bright enough to cast shadows. Kira has been moving for 2 hours since full dark. Slow, careful, using the terrain. She finds a seep spring at 2100 hours. It's not much. A crack in the limestone where groundwater has been filtering up for 10,000 years. The rock around it is stained green with algae. The smell is sulfur and rot. It's the most beautiful thing she's ever seen. She kneels, examines it with her red lens flashlight. The pool is maybe 6 inches deep, 2 feet across. The surface has a film of dead insects and mineral deposits. She pulls an iodine tablet from her survival tin, drops it into her canteen cup, scoops up the greenish water, stirs, waits 5 minutes. She's supposed to wait 30. The manual says 30, but the manual was written by people who weren't dying of thirst in a cave. She drinks. It tastes like swimming pool water mixed with dirt. Her stomach cramps immediately. She doubles over, waits. The nausea passes. She drinks more, refills her canteen, treats it, waits. While she waits, she strips off her plate carrier, her uniform top, examines herself by the red light. Bruises everywhere. Her ribs are a watercolor of purple and yellow. Her shoulders are raw from the gear. Her hands are torn up from the rocks, but no major injuries. Yet, she fills the canteen again, then again, drinks until her stomach is sloshing. Water is life. Everything else is details. She's replacing her gear when she hears it. Voices, close. She kills the light, freezes. The voices are speaking Russian, not Spanish, Russian. 3 men, maybe 4, moving through the rocks 50 meters away. Kira's hand finds her knife. She doesn't want to shoot. Gunfire carries, especially at night. But if they find her, she won't have a choice. The voices get closer. She can hear boots on stone now. the creak of tactical gear. These aren't cartel enforcers. These are professionals, contractors, probably ex-Spetsnaz, the kind Volkov hires when he needs real security, the kind who know how to track. Kira presses herself into the shadows, controls her breathing. One of them is speaking on a radio. The words are clipped, efficient. She catches fragments. Grid November 7-3, no thermal, check the caves. Her heart hammers. They're doing exactly what she'd do, checking every hole, every shadow. This cave is next. She has maybe 30 seconds. Kira makes a decision. She can't fight 3 trained operators in close quarters, not with one functional arm, not when she's already exhausted, but she doesn't have to fight all 3, just one. She moves to the mouth of the cave, finds a loose rock the size of a softball, hefts it, waits. The voices are right outside now. A beam of white light sweeps past the cave entrance, moves on, then comes back. A figure appears, backlit by moonlight. Rifle up, moving carefully. He has a thermal scope. She can see the bulky outline. If he aims into the cave, he'll see her heat signature. Game over. Kira doesn't give him the chance. She throws the rock, not at him, past him. It clatters against stones 20 feet away. The figure spins, calls out in Russian. His teammates respond. She hears them moving toward the sound. The man in front of her takes one step forward, away from the cave. Kira moves, silent, fast. She's behind him before he knows she's there. Her left arm is useless, but her right arm works fine. The knife goes in below the ribs, angled up, finds the lung. He makes a sound, wet, choking. She clamps her hand over his mouth, holds him as he thrashes. It takes longer than the movies suggest. 20 seconds, 30. His struggles weaken. Stop. She lowers him to the ground, takes his rifle, an AKM, 2 magazines taped together, 60 rounds, takes his radio, his NVGs, his canteen. The other voices are calling for him now. Urgent. Kira doesn't wait to see if they find him. She runs, west, deeper into the maze of canyons. Behind her she hears shouting, then gunfire. Wild, panicked. They found their friend. Now they're looking for a ghost. Good luck with that. Dawn, the cauterization. Dawn comes like a hammer. Kira has been moving all night, putting distance between herself and the kill site. She finds an overhang, crawls underneath, covered on 3 sides. Only one approach, defensible. She allows herself to stop. Her body is shutting down. The adrenaline that kept her moving is gone. Now there's just exhaustion and pain. Her left arm is throbbing, the bicep where the knife went in during the struggle. She hadn't even felt it at the time. Too much adrenaline. Now she feels it. She peels back the sleeve of her uniform top. The wound is 3 inches long, deep. The edges are ragged, already starting to turn red. Infection. In this heat, with this much dirt and bacteria, she has maybe 12 hours before it goes septic. She needs to close it. Sutures would be ideal. She doesn't have sutures. She has a knife, a lighter, and a very bad idea. Kira pulls 3 rounds from the AKM magazine, 7.62 millimeter, steel case. She uses her knife to pry the bullets from the casings, dumps the gunpowder onto a flat stone. 3 rounds worth, a small gray pile. She looks at it, looks at her arm. This is going to hurt. She pulls the tourniquet off her shoulder, loosens it on her bicep. Blood wells up immediately, dark and sluggish. She positions the stone with the gunpowder next to the wound, bites down on a strip of leather torn from her rifle sling, tilts the stone. The powder pours into the wound. The sting is immediate, chemical, sharp, but nothing compared to what comes next. She flicks the lighter, holds it to the powder. The powder ignites, white heat, 2 seconds of hell compressed into eternity. Kira's scream is swallowed by the leather strap. Her vision whites out. Her back arches. Every muscle locks. Then it's over. The wound is sealed. Black. Smoking. Kira collapses forward, gasping, tears streaming. But when she looks at the wound, the edges are cauterized. No more bleeding. She wraps it with gauze from her med kit. Tape. Makes it tight. Her left arm is functionally useless now. The nerve damage from the burn in the original knife wound makes it weak. She can't grip with it, can barely lift it, but it won't kill her. She leans back against the stone, closes her eyes. 30 seconds later, she's asleep. The kind of sleep that comes from total physical exhaustion, the kind where you don't dream. She wakes to the sound of engines. Midday. The search. The sun is high. She's been asleep for 6 hours. Too long. Kira rolls to her stomach, peers out from under the overhang. 3 pickup trucks, technicals, 50 caliber machine guns mounted in the beds. Cartel. They're moving slowly, systematically, searching. She's made it 10 miles from the compound, but that's not far enough, not nearly far enough. She watches them pass, heading north, away from her. For now. She checks her supplies. AKM, 43 rounds remaining. P226, 14 rounds. Knife, canteen, full. 1 MRE, chicken and rice. She tears it open, eats it cold, forces herself to chew. Calories are survival. Her radio crackles. She freezes. The ICOM. She left it on. Stupid. She grabs it, lowers the volume. A voice. Spanish. Rapid fire. She catches words. Norte. North. Mujer. Woman. Recompensa. Reward. They're offering money for her. Dead or alive. How much, she wonders. What's the going rate for a dead Navy SEAL? The voice continues. Comandante quiere. The commander wants. She listens and learns something interesting. There's a mining camp 10 miles west. U.S. contractors, engineers, 12 men. The cartel has taken them hostage. They're using them as bait. Bring us the woman sniper or the Americans die. Kira looks at the radio. She could run, could head south, try to reach civilization before her luck runs out. Leave 12 strangers to their fate. The smart move, the survival move. She looks at her arm, the charred flesh wrapped in gauze. Thinks about Sloane. What would she tell her daughter that mommy ran, that she saved herself while other Americans died? Some lessons are more important than survival. Kira stands, shoulders the rifle, and starts walking west. Duderick, the hostages. She reaches the high ground at 1600 hours. The mining camp is in a valley below. Temporary structures, trailers, equipment, and men with guns. 20 of them, maybe 25. Spread out, relaxed. They're not expecting a rescue. Why would they? The hostages are gathered in the center of the camp, hands zip-tied, kneeling in the sun. A man stands over them, black beret, expensive boots, commander. He's holding a satellite phone, talking, gesturing, probably negotiating with someone, or gloating. Kira studies the layout. The fuel truck is parked near the eastern trailer. 55-gallon drums in the bed. Diesel. Maybe gasoline. The cartel's resupply point. She checks her gear. 43 rounds in the AKM. And one very bad, very stupid idea. She moves to a different position, higher. 800 meters from the camp. Finds the RPG. She'd seen it 2 hours ago. Lying next to a dead cartel enforcer she'd passed. The body was days old, bloated, but the weapon was still there. 1 launcher, 2 warheads. She has no formal training on the RPG-7, but she's seen them fired, knows the basics. Load, aim, fire, don't stand behind it. She loads the first warhead, twists until it locks, arms it, shoulders the launcher. The weight is awkward, balanced all wrong, but she steadies it. 800 meters. Wind is light, maybe 5 miles per hour. The RPG-7 is accurate to about 300 meters. She's firing at almost 3 times that distance. This is going to be interesting. Kira stands up, fully upright, on the highest point of the ridge, silhouetted against the setting sun. Below, someone shouts. She sees heads turning, rifles raising. Kira aims at the fuel truck and fires. The launcher kicks, hard. The back blast sends up a plume of dust behind her. The warhead streaks downward, smoke trail, wobbling slightly. It's going to miss. Then the wind catches it, pushes it left, right into the side of the fuel truck. The world turns orange. The explosion is massive, a fireball that climbs 200 feet. Secondary explosions as the drums cook off. The shock wave knocks men off their feet. The hostages scatter, running, hands still tied, but running. Chaos. Beautiful, perfect chaos. The cartel fighters are spinning, trying to find the threat, trying to regroup. Kira drops the launcher, unslings the AKM, and starts walking down the hill. She's not running anymore, not hiding. She's walking, steady, deliberate, into the valley of the shadow of death. The cartel sees her, starts firing. Rounds crack past, kick up dust. She doesn't flinch, just keeps walking. At 300 meters, she raises the rifle, fires. A man with a machine gun drops. She cycles the action, fires again. Another man down. The cartel is panicking now. They're firing wildly, at shadows, at ghosts, at a woman who should be dead, but refuses to die. Kira reaches the bottom of the hill. The camp is in shambles, fires everywhere, men running. She finds cover behind a trailer, reloads. The commander with the black beret is screaming orders, trying to rally his men. Kira puts the rifle sights on him, breathes, squeezes, miss. High and right. He dives for cover. She fires again, hits the wall next to him. Close enough. She's down to 10 rounds in the AKM. She needs to move. Kira breaks from cover, sprints to the next position. Bullets chase her, snap overhead. She slides behind a truck. Her lungs are burning. Her arm is screaming. But she's alive, and the hostages are running. She sees them disappearing into the rocks. Free. Mission accomplished. Now she just has to survive. A figure rounds the corner. Cartel. Close. Too close to use the rifle. Kira drops it. Draws her SIG. Fires twice. Center mass. He goes down. She's moving again. East. Away from the camp. Behind her, she hears the cartel regrouping. Organizing. They're coming, all of them. And Kira Brennan is running out of ammunition. Running out of strength, running out of luck. But she's not running out of fight. She reaches the edge of the camp. Looks back. The fuel truck is still burning. Smoke rising into the twilight sky. A signal fire. Someone will see it. Someone will come. Maybe. Kira turns and disappears into the devil's jaw. The ghost melting back into the desert, leaving only bodies and questions in her wake. Somewhere behind her engines roar to life. The hunt continues, but now they know. The woman they're hunting isn't prey. She's a predator, and predators don't go down easy. 12 hours later, Kira hasn't slept, can't sleep. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees the explosion, feels the heat, smells the burning. She's found another cave, deeper, higher, 3 miles from the mining camp. The cartel is still surging. She can hear them. Engines, voices, getting closer. She checks her supplies one last time. AKM, 10 rounds, P226, 8 rounds. Knife, canteen, half full, not enough, not nearly enough. She knows what's coming. They're closing the net, tightening the noose. She has maybe 6 hours before they find her. 6 hours to decide, run or fight. Kira looks at her hands. The left one barely works. The burned flesh wrapped in gauze that's already seeping yellow. Infection is setting in despite the cauterization. She has a fever, 101 degrees. maybe higher. She's running out of time, running out of options. She pulls out her phone, the one she's kept powered off to save battery. One last time. She turns it on. The lock screen appears. Sloane, smiling, holding that soccer ball. Kira's thumb hovers over the screen. She could call, could hear her daughter's voice one last time. Say goodbye. Instead, she looks at the photo, memorizes every detail. The freckles across Sloane's nose, the gap between her front teeth, the way her hair catches the light, then powers the phone off, puts it back in her pocket. Some goodbyes you don't get to say. She shoulders her rifle, checks the entrance. The sun is setting. Hour 48. Time to move. One more time. 300 miles away in an air-conditioned office, Colonel Garrett Thorne is making a decision that will cost him everything. But some things are worth the price. The Tactical Operations Center runs on coffee and bad news. Colonel Garrett Thorne has been awake for 36 hours straight. His eyes are red. His uniform is wrinkled. The coffee in his hand has gone cold 3 times and been reheated twice. On the main screen, drone footage plays on a loop. Grid, November 7, the mining camp, or what's left of it. The fuel truck is a blackened skeleton, smoke still rising, bodies scattered like broken toys. The timestamp reads 16:14 hours, 2 hours ago. Thorne watches it again and again, looking for something everyone else says isn't there. The door opens. A young lieutenant enters, fresh-faced. Probably thinks he's seen combat because he watched a firefight on a screen once. Sir, the damage assessment is complete. 32 confirmed hostile KIA, 12 U.S. contractors rescued. They're being debriefed now. Thorne doesn't look away from the screen. And Chief Brennan, the lieutenant hesitates. Sir, we've been over this. The thermal data shows. I know what the thermal data shows, Lieutenant. I'm asking what you see. Sir, Thorne points at the screen, rewinds, plays it again. The explosion, the chaos, then a figure, small, moving along the ridgeline. It appears for maybe 3 seconds, then disappears into the rocks. There, the lieutenant squints. That's a thermal artifact, sir. Probably residual heat from the explosion reflecting off. Play it again. The lieutenant obeys. Thorne leans closer. The figure moves. Not like heat shimmer, not like reflection, like a person. Zoom in. The image pixelates, but the outline is unmistakable. Human, carrying a weapon, moving with purpose. The lieutenant shakes his head. Sir, even if that is a person, it could be cartel. One of their survivors fleeing the cartel don't move like that. Sir, Thorne's voice is quiet, certain. That's a tactical withdrawal, bounding Overwatch pattern, military training. That's not some cartel enforcer running for his life. That's an operator executing an extraction. He straightens, looks at the lieutenant. That's Chief Brennan. The lieutenant's face tightens. Sir, with all due respect, even if Chief Brennan survived the initial engagement, the probability of her surviving 48 hours in that environment without water, medical support, or communication is higher than you think. A new voice. Both men turn. Captain Wade Hollister stands in the doorway. He looks like he's been through a shredder. Uniform dusty, face haggard, but his eyes are clear. Captain, Thorne says, thought you were in medical. I was. They cleared me. And I need to talk to you, sir. Hollister walks to the screen, studies the footage. That's her. You're certain? I've operated with Brennan for 3 years. I know how she moves. That's her. The lieutenant starts to protest. Hollister cuts him off. You want more proof? Look at the pattern of kills in that camp. 32 hostiles, most of them single shots. Precision fire from 800 meters with iron sights on an AKM. You know how hard that is. That's not cartel. That's a Navy SEAL sniper making do with what she's got. Thorne studies the footage again. 32 kills, 12 hostages saved, all executed by someone the official report says is dead. He makes a decision. Captain Hollister, assemble your team. Full combat load. We're going back in. The lieutenant steps forward. Sir, you can't authorize that. The operational window is closed. Command has issued a... I don't give a damn what command issued. Thorne's voice is iron. I have a Tier 1 operator in the field. Alive. Still fighting. And I will not leave her to die because some desk jockey in Langley decided she's politically inconvenient. Sir, this is insubordination. If you launch an unauthorized, Thorne pulls off his rank insignia, sets it on the desk. Then I'm not launching it as a colonel. I'm launching it as a private citizen who happens to have access to a helicopter and 6 highly motivated operators who agree with me. He looks at Hollister. You and Hollister doesn't hesitate. Always, sir. Thorne nods. Good. Wheels up in 20 minutes. We extract Brennan or we don't come back. The lieutenant is stammering now. Sir, I have to report this. I have to. You have to do whatever you think is right, son. Just like I'm doing. Thorne grabs his cover, settles it on his head. But before you make that call, ask yourself something. If it was you out there, if you'd been left behind, would you want someone coming for you? He walks out. Hollister follows. The lieutenant stands alone in the teok, stares at the screen, at the figure moving through the rocks. He reaches for the phone, hesitates, then sets it down. Some things are more important than following orders. The hangar. Thorne walks toward the hangar. Hollister beside him. Sir, can I ask something? Shoot. Why are you doing this? You could walk away. Retire clean. Nobody would blame you. Thorne stops. Looks at the younger man. You know why I got the call sign Ironside? No, sir. Iraq, 91, February. The ground war was supposed to be over. We were pulling back. My team was doing final sweeps near Basra. He starts walking again, slower. We found a family, Iraqi. Father was a doctor, worked with coalition forces. The Republican Guard had executed him, left the wife and 2 kids to die. Hollister listens. Command ordered us to leave them. Said we didn't have time. Said they weren't our problem. Thorne's jaw tightens. My team's sergeant man named Torres, he looked at me, said, Sir, we can't. And I knew he was right. What did you do? Well, I told command we were staying, that we'd walk out if we had to. Thorne pauses. They said if we disobeyed, we were on our own. No extraction, no support. So you walked 87 miles through enemy territory, carried that woman and her kids the whole way, lost Miller to a sniper on day 2, lost Jackson to a mine on day 4. His voice goes quiet. But that woman lived. Those kids lived. They're in Michigan now. The daughter's a doctor, like her father. He looks at Hollister. Torres the man who told me we couldn't leave them. He said something before he died. Cancer 2 years ago. He said, Garrett, you got an iron side. Nothing bends it. Thorne reaches the helicopter. Brennan's got a daughter, 7 years old, and that little girl deserves to have her mother come home. He climbs aboard. So yeah, I'm doing this. Because 25 years ago, someone did it for people who weren't even American. And I swore if I ever got the chance, I'd do the same. Hollister nods, follows him in. Some oaths are written in blood, and Garrett Thorne keeps his promises. Devil's Jaw, the airstrike. Kira hears the jet before she sees it. That tearing sound. High altitude. Fast mover. She's been expecting this. She looks up. The sky is clear, pale blue. The sun high and merciless. She can't see the aircraft, but she knows it's there. F-16, maybe F-18, armed with smart ordnance, and she knows who it's looking for. Kira checks her position. She's in a narrow canyon. Walls rising 200 feet on either side. Natural funnel. Good for cover, bad for escape. The sound gets louder, closer. She pulls the thermal goggles from her pack, the ones she took from the Russian contractor, flips them on, scans the rocks around her. There, a pinpoint of light, invisible to the naked eye. Laser designator. Someone is painting the ground, painting her. The sound of the jet changes, the pitch dropping, diving. Kira does the math. JDAM, Joint Direct Attack Munition, probably GBU 31, 2,000 pounds of high explosive, kill radius 400 meters, blast wave effective out to 800. She has maybe 15 seconds. She can't outrun it, can't hide from it. The walls of the canyon won't protect her. They'll amplify the overpressure, turn this corridor into a kill tube. Unless... Kira looks ahead, 50 meters away, a group of cartel fighters, 20, maybe 30. They're clustered in a depression, using the rocks for cover, hunting her. They haven't seen the laser, haven't heard the jet. They're about to die, and Kira makes a decision that would get her court-martialed if anyone knew. She runs toward them, not away, toward. The lead cartel fighter sees her. His eyes go wide. He raises his rifle. Kira doesn't shoot him. She tackles him, drives her shoulder into his chest. They go down together, rolling, tumbling into the depression where his squad is positioned. The other fighters shout, confused, raising weapons. And the bomb hits. The sound is beyond description. Not a noise, an event. The universe collapses into a single point of pressure and heat. White, red, black, then nothing. The shock wave is a physical wall. It lifts bodies, throws them like rag dolls. The ground liquefies, solid rock turning to powder. The air itself becomes a weapon, overpressure crushing lungs, rupturing eardrums. Kira is curled beneath the cartel fighter, using him as a human shield. His body absorbs the blast, the shrapnel, the heat. She feels him die, feels the life leave him in one violent instant. Debris rains down. Rocks, dirt, pieces of other human beings. The roar goes on forever, then stops. Silence. Not peaceful silence. The ringing, empty silence of a world that's been unmade. Kira lies still, can't hear, can't see, can't think. Just exists, in the crater, in the aftermath. Slowly, so slowly. Sensation returns. Pain. Everywhere. She's buried. Partially. Under rubble. Under the dead man. She pushes. Nothing moves. Pushes harder. The weight shifts. She claws her way up. Through dirt. Through darkness. Her head breaks the surface. She gasps. Coughs. Spits dust. Opens her eyes. The canyon is gone. In its place, a crater. 50 meters across. 20 meters deep. The walls are scorched black, melted glass in places where the heat was intense enough to fuse sand. Bodies lie scattered. Most of them are just pieces now. Kira drags herself free of the rubble, stands, wobbles, falls to one knee. Her ears are ringing, high-pitched whine that drowns out everything. She spits again, blood this time, looks at her hands, they're shaking. Not from fear, from shock, but she's alive. Against every law of physics and probability. She's alive. Kira looks up at the sky, whispers through broken lips. Missed! Then she hears it. Through the ringing, through the shock. Rotors, helicopters, multiple, coming fast. She fumbles for her rifle. It's gone, buried somewhere. She draws her pistol, the SIG. 8 rounds left. If this is another strike team, another kill squad, she'll make those 8 rounds count. The first helicopter crests the ridge. MH-47 Chinook. U.S. markings. Kira's heart stops. The big bird flares, drops into the crater. Rotors screaming. The ramp is already down. Figures in multicam fast rope out. 6 of them. Weapons up, scanning. The lead figure sees her. Starts running. Captain Hollister. Brennan! His voice is distant, muffled by the ringing in her ears. But she hears it. She tries to stand. Can't. Her legs won't work. Hollister reaches her, drops to his knees. Jesus Christ, you made it. You're here. Kira tries to speak. Her voice doesn't work. She just nods. Hollister keys his radio. Hawk 1, this is Havoc 6. Package secured. Viper is conscious and mobile. A voice comes back. Older. Gravelly. Copy Havoc. Get her on the bird. We're not staying. Hollister slides an arm under Kira's shoulders. Come on, Chief. Let's go home. He lifts her. She weighs nothing now. The other operators form a perimeter, weapons out, watching the ridgelines. Hollister carries her to the Chinook, up the ramp, inside. The crew chief is already prepping medical gear. They lay her on a stretcher. The medic leans over her, starts checking vitals. Chief Brennan, can you hear me? She nods. How many fingers am I holding up? She can barely see through the dust and blood, but she makes out 2. She holds up 2 fingers with her good hand. Good, that's good. Stay with me, Chief. The helicopter lifts. Kira closes her eyes, feels the vibration, the movement. She's off the ground. She's flying. She's Brennan. A voice, familiar. She forces her eyes open. A face appears above her. Old, weathered, gray hair. Colonel Thorne. He's kneeling next to the stretcher, his hand on her shoulder. You made it, Chief. You made it. Kira's throat works. She manages to croak out words. Sir, you came back. Always. His voice breaks slightly. I don't leave soldiers behind. Not in 91. Not today. She tries to smile. Isn't sure if she succeeds. Sloan, we already called her guardian. She knows you're coming home. Tears leak from Kira's eyes. Not from pain, from relief. Thorne squeezes her shoulder. Rest now. We've got you. The helicopter banks, turns south, toward home. Kira lets the darkness take her. But this darkness is different. This darkness is safe. The tarmac, reckoning. The Chinook touches down just after sunset. Before the rotors even stop, there's movement. Military police, a full platoon, and a man in civilian clothes. Expensive suit, government ID clipped to his belt, CIA, Deputy Director Castillo. Thorne sees him, jaw tightens. The ramp drops. Castillo steps forward. Colonel Thorne, you are under arrest for get out of my way. Thorne's voice is ice. Sir, you violated direct orders. You launched an unauthorized. I said move. The medics are wheeling Kira's stretcher down the ramp. She's conscious now. Barely. Eyes tracking. Castillo steps into their path. Chief Brennan is to be taken into federal custody pending. Kira's hand moves. Fast. She grabs his wrist. Pulls him close. Her voice is a rasp, but clear. Touch me, and I'll rip your throat out. With my teeth. Castillo goes pale. Hollister steps up beside the stretcher. You heard the chief. Back off. The standoff lasts 5 seconds. Then the medics push past, taking Kira toward the waiting ambulance. Thorne follows. Castillo turns to the MPs. Arrest him. Now! The MP captain steps forward, but before he can speak, Kira's voice rings out. Louder now. Wait. Everyone stops. She's sitting up on the stretcher, the medics trying to keep her down. She waves them off, reaches into her vest, pulls out the ICOM radio, holds it up. I recorded everything. Castillo's face goes white. What? Every transmission, every order, every conversation about sanitizing me. She presses play. The radio crackles. Static. Then a voice. Clear as a bell. Castillo's voice. Reaper 6 maintain overwatch on grid November 7. If you detect any movement, any thermal signature consistent with a human, you are to engage immediately. The tarmac goes silent. Every person within earshot stops moving. The voice continues. I'm saying Chief Brennan may have been compromised during the operation. Volkov indicated there was a leak. If Brennan was captured and interrogated, she could expose the entire network. Someone in the crowd gasps. Castillo's face has gone white. There is no search and rescue. Officially, Chief Brennan died in the line of duty. If she somehow survived and makes contact, we'll reassess. But until then, anything moving in November 7 is hostile. Kira stops the playback. The silence is deafening. Castillo takes a step forward. That recording is fabricated. It's been doctored. Is it? Kira's voice cuts through his protest. She holds up the radio. This is an ICOM ICV-8, military grade, the kind we issue to Allied forces. It records to internal flash memory, no editing capability. She looks at the MP captain. Captain, your text can verify the authenticity. The metadata, the timestamps, all of it. The captain nods, takes the radio. Castillo is sweating now. Chief Brennan, you don't understand. The situation was complex. There were political considerations, assets in play. You were expendable. Kira's voice is ice. That's the word you're looking for. I was expendable. She takes a step toward him. You know what happened to those 12 hostages I saved. 3 of them had kids. 1 of them had a wife who was pregnant. Another one was 2 weeks from retirement. Another step. But I guess they were expendable too. Castillo backs up. You don't have the authority to... I have every authority. Thorne's voice. He steps forward, stands beside Kira. Chief Brennan is a decorated combat veteran, a Navy SEAL, and a witness to attempted murder by a government official. He looks at the MP captain. Captain Reeves, you've heard the evidence. What's your call? Captain Reeves looks at the radio in his hands, looks at Castillo, looks at Kira, standing there, bloodied, burned, but unbroken. He makes his decision. Deputy Director Castillo, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder under Article 118 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice and for obstruction of justice. He signals to his men. Take him. Castillo explodes. This is illegal. I have diplomatic immunity. I answer to the president. You can't. The president doesn't authorize murder, sir. Reeves nods to his MPs. They move in, grab Castillo's arms. He struggles, screams. This isn't over. I'll have all your careers. You'll rot in Leavenworth. All of you. The MPs drag him toward a waiting vehicle. His screams fade. The tarmac erupts. Operators cheering. Someone starts clapping. Then another. Then everyone. Kira stands in the middle of it. Doesn't smile. Doesn't acknowledge the applause. Just closes her eyes and breathes. It's over. Finally over. Thorne's hand on her shoulder. You did it, Chief. We did it, sir. Garrett. The medics are back. This time she doesn't fight them. She's earned her rest. 3 months later, the Pentagon. The briefing room holds 200 people, but Kira only sees one. Back row, civilian clothes, gray hair, Thorne. Admiral James Walsh finishes his speech, places the Medal of Honor around her neck. The weight is more than medal. It's 32 lives taken, 12 lives saved, 68 hours that changed everything. The Admiral salutes. She returns it, whispers, You could have run, Chief. Why didn't you? Because someone had to stand. The ceremony ends. Kira finds Thorne outside. He's leaning against a wall, smiling. Hell of a speech, Chief. Learn from the best, sir. Garrett. They walk in silence. Finally, Thorne reaches into his jacket, pulls out something small, brass, a compass. Old. The kind they don't make anymore. The case is worn smooth. This belonged to my platoon sergeant. Gulf War. He gave it to me the day we walked out of Iraq. said a leader never loses his way as long as he knows what matters. He holds it out. I'm giving it to you. Kira takes it. The weight feels right in her palm. Sir, I can't. You can, and you will, because someday you're going to train the next generation, and they're going to need to know what real leadership looks like. He taps the compass. When that day comes, you pass this on. Keep the chain unbroken. Kira's throat tightens. Garrett, thank you. Don't thank me. Just promise me you'll remember. Remember what? That the system will fail, orders will be wrong, politicians will lie. He meets her eyes. But soldiers take care of soldiers. Always. That's the code. She nods. I promise. They shake hands. Then Thorne pulls her into a hug. Brief, paternal. Go see your daughter, Chief. Where are you going? Fishing? Maybe Montana. Haven't decided yet. He grins. Retirement suits me. Kira watches him walk away, then looks at the compass. The needle points true north. Always has. Always will. Suburban soccer field. 1 week later, Sloan scores. The ball hits the net. Parents cheer. Kira stands on the sidelines. Civilian clothes. The Medal of Honor is at home. In a drawer. This is what matters. Sloan runs to her. Red hair flying. Crashes into Kira's legs. Mom, did you see my goal? I saw everything, baby. That was amazing. Sloan looks up. Green eyes, same as her mother's, shining. You came. You actually came. I promised, didn't I? You always promise. The words hit like a punch. Kira kneels, eye level with her daughter. I know I do, and I know I've broken a lot of them. She takes Sloan's hands. But I'm done breaking promises. I got a new job, teaching at a school. I'll be home every night, every weekend, every game. Sloan's lip trembles. Really? Really? What about the missions, the bad guys? Kira touches her daughter's cheek. Someone else's turn to stop the bad guys. My job now is to be your mom. Sloan hugs her, tight. I missed you so much. I missed you too, baby, every second. They stay like that, mother and daughter, holding on. Behind them a voice. Room for one more. Kira turns. Thorne, jeans, flannel, a fishing rod in his truck. Thought you were going to Montana. I am next week. Figured I'd stop by first. Sloan tugs his hand. Are you Grandpa Ironside? Thorne laughs. I guess I am. They sit together, 3 generations of fighters, watching kids play soccer, living life, the way it's supposed to be lived. Later, when the sun sets and the field empties, Kira stands alone, looking at the horizon. She still scans the tree line, still checks the exits. Some habits never die, but now when she looks at the shadows, she doesn't see threats. She sees possibilities. The desert tried to kill her. The system tried to erase her. They failed, because Chief Petty Officer Kira Brennan learned something in those 68 hours. Survival isn't about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about being the most stubborn, the most unwilling to quit, the most determined to see one more sunrise. She pulls out the compass, opens it, the needle points north. She whispers to the wind, I'm home, Dad, and I'm not going anywhere. Then she closes the compass, puts it in her pocket, and walks toward her daughter, toward the future, toward home. Deputy Director Marcus Castillo was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison for conspiracy to commit murder and obstruction of justice. He is currently serving his sentence at FCI Terre Haute. Colonel Garrett Thorne retired with full honors after 47 years of military service. He now runs a wilderness survival school in Montana, training young veterans. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Medal for his actions in Operation Viper recovery. Captain Wade Hollister was promoted to major and now serves as Director of Training at Fort Bragg. Chief Petty Officer Kira Brennan became the youngest female SEAL instructor in U.S. Navy history. She teaches advanced survival and combat tactics at Coronado. Her official after-action report remains classified, but intelligence sources confirm at least 38 hostile eliminations during her 68-hour ordeal. She lives in San Diego with her daughter Sloane, age 7, who still plays soccer. The compass now sits on Brennan's desk at Coronado, waiting for the next generation. Final frame, black screen, white text, "The only easy day was yesterday." Navy SEAL motto,